I'm not letting Riverdale's civil war split us apart, Jug.
Holy shiitake, you guys. Riverdale Season 1 has finally come to an end, and it's got us all feeling some type of way, so let's break it down right here on what happened. Okay, y'all, Lisa here, and I'm honestly still sitting here just trying to recover from this Season 1 finale of Riverdale, which is probably why this is going up a little later, right? No, honestly, I just had stuff to do last night, so I couldn't watch it on time, but I finally watched it. Mind blown, right? Like, how could you do this to us, Riverdale, to that character? So this recap, I'm not going to outline in super detail like I usually do because I just want to get to what this finale means for Season 2, so let's just run through the big stuff that happened in episode 13. Riverdale has finally kind of remembered that it's actually a teen CW soap opera, and some steamy love scenes were actually served up in this episode. In all honesty, it's quite interesting that really the only steamy scenes in the season were those few that we had between Archie and Grundy at the beginning of the season, which is a little bit refreshing for a teen-type show like this. Nevertheless, you knew that the sexy time was coming. Well, everything previously in this show in the love department has been a little bit PG until now. Both Archie and Veronica and Betty and Jughead finally get to have a breather to enjoy some good old loving, except one couple actually gets to do the deed while the other is interrupted. Can you guess which one? Yeah, Archie and Veronica actually hit a home run while Betty and Jughead are interrupted when the Southside Serpents knock on FP's trailer door where they are to tell Jughead that because FP has not snitched on them and he refuses to, he has their backs. They will always have Jughead's back. They also give him his own serpent jacket, telling him if you want it, it's yours. Now, Jughead actually kind of seems a little bit excited by this proposal. He excitedly puts that jacket on, but his joy is short-lived when he looks over and sees Betty watching through the door when she says his name. She doesn't look too happy about this. So, will Jughead actually decide to become a full Southside Serpent? Also in this scene, we got our first glimpse of Hot Dog. Also in the love department, we have the whole love triangle kind of back. Archie and Veronica finally tell Betty about the two of them, and Betty actually says she's okay with it, saying she has Jughead. Oh, and I forgot to mention that Jughead actually finally told Betty he loves her, which set off their steamy scene. Anyway, seems like no one really believes that Betty is okay with this, as Veronica and Archie both ask her if she's okay with it again separately, and she's just kind of like, why y'all tripping about this? Meanwhile, Archie seems to be iffy about the whole thing because there are some longing glances he gives Betty, which Veronica catches a few times. And when she finally confronts Archie about it, he says, oh, I was just looking at Betty longingly because she was with Jughead and the way they're together, I want to be that for you. For some reason though, I'm not buying that, but Veronica seems to be. Alice finally tells Betty her big secret, that Betty and Polly have a secret brother. Yeah, you know that fight FP alluded to at their high school homecoming between Hal and Alice? Well, that was because Alice had just told Hal she was pregnant and they disagreed on what to do about this baby. Alice ended up going to the Sisters of Quiet Mercy and having a baby boy who would be in his mid-20s by now that she ended up giving up for adoption. So does this mean we're actually going to get to meet another Cooper kid in Season 2? Can I start dreamcasting now? Is Drew Van Acker available, or Zach Rohrig from the Vampire Diaries? Who would you cast? When it comes to Cheryl, how is she dealing with the aftermath of her father's suicide? Well, not well at all. Now, in interviews leading up to the finale, we were told a character's life would be hanging in the balance by the end of the episode, and for the majority of this episode, it makes you believe that that character is Cheryl. Mama Blossom is just being a cold bitch as always, and Cheryl just honestly wants someone to love her and comfort her in her time of need. It's like, poor girl, I really do feel bad for her. Mrs. Blossom certainly needs to pull that stick out of her ass. Cheryl eventually apologizes to Jughead at school and even gives a famous spider brooch that she wears, saying he can pawn it off for money. We later see Cheryl text Veronica that she's going to be with Jason, and the Scooby Gang figures out that she's at Sweetwater River, so they run there and they see Cheryl in the middle of the frozen river trying to break through the ice. She eventually does fall into the water, and then Archie and them run after her, and Archie ends up breaking his hand, busting open the ice to pull her out. Instead of taking Cheryl to the hospital, Veronica just takes her home and gives her a blanket and puts her in front of a fire. I am pretty sure hypothermia probably would have set in that amount of time that she was in the water, and Cheryl should have definitely gone to the hospital. Then towards the end of the episode, Cheryl ends up burning down Thornhill to Mrs. Blossom's horror because she says this is the only way they can really be cleansed of everything and start over. Something that's just not a significant thing, but I think it's just funny, is that Polly ended up going back to school for a day thanks to Betty, which is mentioned in the show but we never see it. But after the finale, a deleted scene was released.
Ooh, damn, Polly. As if I didn't already have mommy issues. Welcome back. You are looking good.
Thanks, Reggie.
Beat it, you pig.
Ooh, I will. Later.
So this scene actually serves as the last glimpse of Ross Butler as Reggie Mantle, as he is going to be recast in season 2. For Jughead, big changes are ahead. He's sent to live with a foster family on the south side. When it comes to Hermione, she is turning a little bit dark and shady. She's preparing everything for Hiram's return, and she's told Fred that they want to buy him out of this deal. In the end, though, Fred refuses to take the deal, which Hermione is not happy about. She knows that once Hiram gets back, things aren't going to be good. Then comes the dramatic end of this episode. The character whose life hangs in the balance and will fuel season 2 is Fred. Freaking Fred Andrews. Like, why would Riverdale hurt the only stand-up character left in this town? I mean, then again, we knew it was coming, right? In order to make an impact, you have to take out the character that means the most or is the most innocent, right? So Fred and Archie are at Pop's to meet for breakfast, and they're the only two in the restaurant. While Archie's in the bathroom, he hears yelling and peeks out to see a masked robber holding Pop at gunpoint demanding money. Fred slowly gets up and tries to motion to Archie to stay hidden. Now as the robber turns to Fred and points his gun demanding his wallet, we do see Archie jump in front of Fred, and then we hear a gunshot and it cuts away. In that moment, it's like, oh shit, did they just shoot our main character, Archie? Nope. We come back to the scene to see Fred on the ground in a puddle of blood in Archie's arms, and it is just heartbreaking. The episode ends with Jughead's narration.
Marked by an act of violence. It was anything but random.
Hiram Lodge, if this is your doing, I cannot wait to hate you next season. So now, what does all of this mean for season 2, and why did they choose Sweet Sweet Fred as the latest victim in Riverdale? Creator Roberto Aguirre Sacasa told a bunch of different outlets, he did a ton of interviews, but he told Access Hollywood that he can't confirm or deny if Fred is dead, but he will be seen in the season 2 premiere, and in that episode we will learn his fate. Also, that this whole thing is kind of a Bruce Wayne, Peter Parker moment for Archie that's going to shape the man he's going to be. Roberto also revealed to MTV that Fred's shooting was not always in the cards. If you watched my Riverdale interviews, Lily Reinhart told me that they changed the finale like right before they filmed it, and even as they were filming it. So this must have been what they changed. The finale was originally supposed to end with Hiram's arrival as the cliffhanger. They eventually decided that they needed a cliffhanger that would be powerful, so they settled on, quote, Fred, the guy who has always believed in Riverdale and whose hands are cleanest, he is most touched by the darkness that's swallowing Riverdale. Okay, I get that, but what? Like, Fred better live. But now the question is, who shot Fred? Was it someone hired by Hiram, since Fred refused to take the deal? If so, word travels real fast. Roberto also told MTV that the Serpents could be suspects as well because they were just let go by Hermione, but maybe they don't know and think it was Fred who let them go. There are a lot of possible suspects for who shot Fred Andrews, Roberto explained, and hopefully the reveal will be very, very surprising. When it comes to Jughead joining the Serpents, Roberto told multiple outlets that this is a Godfather-type moment for Betty and Jughead, likening them to Al Pacino and Diane Keaton's characters in that iconic film. He also told The Hollywood Reporter that Bughead will still very much be together in season 2, but this whole Serpent thing will create obvious tension. He said, there's a chance Jughead will be trying to live a double life, one with Betty and one with the Serpents. For Cheryl, we last saw her burn down basically half of Thornhill, if not all of it, and that is definitely going to cause some tension between Cheryl and her mother, but it seems like Cheryl might not be taking Mrs. Blossom's crap anymore, and there could be a shift of power in that household. And will we end up seeing the secret Cooper son in season 2? Right now, all signs are pointing to yes. Roberto told MTV, "When you do things like mention a secret brother, I think you have to introduce that character. Hopefully you can introduce them in the most dramatic, unexpected way, which is what we're possibly going to do with this guy." Now, when asked if it will be Chick Cooper, Betty's brother from the comics, the answer was, "It takes a real diehard Archie fan to know that Betty even has a brother named Chick Cooper. So if Betty has a secret brother, it might have something to do with Chick Cooper from the comics. Hopefully they don't introduce him like they did fake brother in One Tree Hill." Now, I know there were also rumors that Sabrina the Teenage Witch would pop up in the finale, but she didn't. However, many assume that because of the line Betty said, "Something wicked this way comes," it alludes to the fact that Sabrina is coming at some point. Probably in season 2, right? Now, there has been no casting for this, but there have been tons of rumors that actresses like Dove Cameron might be playing the role, but only time will tell. Okay, so those are the big reveals and cliffhangers from the season 1 finale of Riverdale, and a few things that we can expect in season 2. All I know is, please, 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 Riverdale, don't kill Fred. But if you do, bring back Mary, Molly Ringwald, so that we can still have some reasonable adult in Riverdale. Actually, though, if you think about it, if they do kill Fred, she'd have to come back to take care of Archie, right? Because he's not going to move away. It's his show. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this finale episode and what you're hoping for in season 2. Leave all your predictions and then click over here for even more Riverdale stuff on my channel. If you like what you see, maybe you could just click that subscribe button. And as always, I'm Lisa, and hopefully your Riverdale withdrawals won't be too bad until season 2 premieres. Until then, see you soon.